Hello and welcome to the next episode of my podcast, Insights from Solitude. My name is Anne Westwards and I'm sharing my insights and experiences with you that I learned during the year and a half that I spent alone by bicycle along the ancient Silk roads. So today's topic is one that is really dear to my heart. It's about embracing your own vulnerability. So what do I mean by that? Normally, we have this buffer between life and death, which normally is comfortably large. We have insurances, we actually have all the basic needs covered, so we don't have to worry about having enough food, enough water. Most of us have apartments and jobs. So, funnily enough, we still are worried, many of us. So we look for insurances, we want to be on the safe side, so we have contracts for all kinds of things. So rarely in our everyday life are we confronted with this basic insecurity that we are, as the human species, deeply, deeply vulnerable. So normally we don't have the situation, but now we actually have to face this, the fact that we might get sick, that loved ones might get sick, we might even die. And that's very hard to accept and to bear. So don't get me wrong, it's the same for me. But if we take a step back, we realize all it takes is one accident. A car which didn't see you when you were on your bicycle. A stupid accident in your living room. It can happen to all of us all the time. And no insurance is going to take that away from you, that you are, in essence, vulnerable. So normally we try to ignore that, to push that away. So we talked beforehand about radical acceptance. Our normal mode is to just ignore that this can happen to us anytime. In particular, when you're young. Of course, when you already have grandchildren and you're, in the final third of your life, maybe this thought becomes more, something that you consider more or talk about more. When you're young, this, death is what happens to other people. Illness, sickness is what happens to other people. So I myself was shocked by the death of a very close friend at the age of 26. We were both avid mountaineers and we had this beautiful routine where when either of us had left the country or the continent for doing an internship somewhere else, for studying abroad, or just going for a longer vacation, we would then say, oh, let's celebrate your return by going to the Alps together. Now, this friend of mine, we actually had a phone call the Thursday evening before, and I had just returned from North America, and I would have joined him for this mountaineering trip. Except that the soles of my hiking boots had fallen off. I had spent a long time hiking in the Andes in South America, and back then I was I was deeply frustrated when this happened because I was in the middle of nowhere in let me think, must have been Peru, when the soles of my hiking boots fell off within an hour. So fortunately I was hiking with a group and I could borrow some spare shoes from a French guy in the group. Still, I was annoyed, to say the least. I was also shocked because I had trusted my equipment. So literally, when Patrick called me this Thursday evening, I told him, listen, I would love to join you in the Alps. I can't. I have no shoes. And I won't have the time. I'm still jet lagged. I won't be able to get shoes by tomorrow morning. And that was the last time we talked. He and the people he went mountaineering with, they all died on Saturday. And I would have died with them had I been with them. It's, one of those things that just happen in the mountains. If there's an avalanche of stones, that's it. So I was 26 at the time, and it changed my life dramatically. Because at 26, you don't actually think about your own death or your own vulnerability. And I think it was the first time that it actually, it strikes you. When this thought first arises, you realize this could have been me. I would be dead right now. Had I joined them. This changes your whole outlook. A very good friend of mine survived cancer at a similar age. And she's still one of the people closest to my heart. And it was particularly this time that got us very close. Because at this age, what often happens is your friends in your age group, they actually distance yourself from you. You're like an outsider to them because you are an outsider since you don't know how much more time you have to live. And that's being confronted with that. Oh, there's somebody in my own age group who might die. Or in my case, oh, there's this very good friend of mine who died completely unexpectedly at the age of 26. For most of us, it's very hard to bear. And we shy away from this. And that's a very normal, very human reaction. And in essence, we shy away from vulnerability as such. It's not even death. I mean, death is a completely different topic, but just this realization, we are not invincible. And we've moved so far away from this, right? I mean, fortunately in the Western world, we have great healthcare systems for the most part. We have vaccinations, we have doctors. We are used to the situation where most things can be treated, except, and then there's a long list of conditions which cannot be treated yet, or maybe never. But we're trying to block this. There's something which changes in you once you acknowledge that we are vulnerable. You are vulnerable. And it's something beautiful that happens. And apart from having to cope with the fact that you may lose loved ones, there comes a very deep humility and a very deep compassion. And the humility that I mean is a humility towards nature. We are nothing in the face of nature, and that's okay. So a story from a mountaineering trip. I wanted to say from a bike trip, actually. It's a story from cycling into the Pamir Mountains. It was a dream for me to discover these mountains by myself, by bicycle. And oftentimes we have a goal in mind and we want to achieve that. For example, we want to conquer a mountain or make it across this pass. And the first time I actually saw the Pamir Mountains, it's a fantastically beautiful mountain range at the border between Afghanistan and Tajikistan. And the first time I saw these mountains, I felt like an ant, literally a tiny, tiny being that's just in awe about the grandeur and the beauty and the power of these mountains. When I came there, it was late summer, and there were masses and masses of snow. It's an image. Normally when I give talks, it always gives me goosebumps showing this image when I first saw the Pamir clad in snow. And it makes you aware these mountains, nature, has been there for ages before you. It will be there for centuries, thousands of years, long after you've gone. You're just a speck on the earth, and that's okay. It's nothing bad or nothing to be feared. It's just, that's what I mean with embracing vulnerability can lead to this beautiful state of humility where you're just like, okay, well, I hand myself over to nature. And maybe the mountains allow me to pass. Maybe they don't. It's not up to me, but I approach them with this humility and this acceptance. So I'm aware I'm confronting you with a topic which may be uncomfortable for many of you. And that's okay too. It's just that from my experience, there's something great to be gained once you actually look vulnerability into the eyes. To really say, okay, well, I am vulnerable. And to be honest, it doesn't matter how many insurances you have, how many buffers you have between life and death. Life is frail, and that's how it is. And there's, as I said, humility can come out of this, but also compassion. Stepping into this also means when you see somebody else suffer, somebody else being sick, maybe then you don't distance yourself from this person. Maybe you can actually step closer and say, I see that you suffer. This must be really hard. And that's something that my good friend who was battling cancer for several years found that very few people could actually do. Just stand this thought, well, this person is really vulnerable, and so am I. So I would hope that this also leads to more compassion towards all kinds of people who are less privileged, or even your sick grandmother, who just makes you aware that we humans are vulnerable. So with that, I would like to end this episode. And I hope that you could take something away from it. As I said, it's a very important topic for me personally. So if you want, I'm always happy to read what listening to such an episode does to you, which thoughts come up. If you want, I'm going to continue posting this video podcast, so feel free to subscribe if you're interested in hearing more. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.